teammates, and he was just trying to push them to what he knew they could be.
Yeah. Tyler,
Yeah,
what do you think?
very Phil Jackson type moment, man. Like, and it was funny. I remember reading about Jordan saying, I didn't really buy into all this like Phil Jackson stuff he had us doing, and like uh, all this breathing stuff, and whatever. But he bought into it like enough, and he respected Phil enough, and that's got to be so hard um, for a head coach when you've got like the greatest player in the world and this unbelievable team to be able to manage that and be smart enough to know like when to push and when to pull. And I guess that's any coach, but like it's that much more pressure and everything to be able to get those guys to work together, because it's so easy as players and teammates to be like, coach is an idiot, like whatever, like we're so much better than him, we get paid more than him, and at that pro level too, coaches come and go in like a year or two, and the players have all the value and the players have all the power, but really cool to see how much Jordan just really loved Jackson and respected him.
Now, Tyler, were you like when you were playing during these years? So, was like when you were following this whole Chicago team and whatnot? Like, was it a different atmosphere when you were playing? Like, trying to maybe emulate the Chicago Bulls team in a way, like oh, I want to be that type of player, or like what was your mindset? While you were living through this, almost.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, everybody in Chicago like just absolutely loved the Bulls because for years the Bulls were really bad, and then they always had Jordan, and like they'd get closer and closer, and finally got over the hump of beating the Pistons. And so people in Chicago freaked out. I mean, I went downtown with my sister. She was older than I was, so she could drive, and we just went downtown like after they won one of the championships, and like everybody's playing the dun 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 dun. They're playing that song like all over downtown Chicago. People are just like yelling and screaming and like no riots, but just everybody just like outside just so excited, after they won a title. I'm sure like any big city will do. But my neighbor 2 doors down, he bought this fancy red car, and his license plate was "and now," like it was AANDNOW. Like that's so great, So just kind of growing up in Chicago, like in the '90s, was such a fun place to be because I mean, bull stuff was everywhere, and I mean, people were even getting shot like in downtown Chicago if you had like a Bulls starter jacket. Like starter was like the brand back then, like it was like the real expensive one. People were getting shot for that. I remember my mom. I got one like as a birthday present one time. I'm like, well, I'm definitely not wearing this to a Bulls game.
That's actually funny. My dad told me about a memory of I guess with the Eagles back in the day. They would send like give out cool merch pregame, and it was like this like rare hat or like limited edition hat, and only so many fans got it. And he said he remembers that he was sitting in this seat during the game, and someone came down seat in front of him and stole the guy's hat off of him. And my dad was like, he put it in his shirt. He was like, I'm never wearing that again. So I like, it's crazy to think that merch does that to somebody. But I mean, when it is that, rare or cool, I mean, it's kind of crazy, but in a way it could be expected.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like my family like grew up in like New York, so my dad just grew up like a Knicks fan, and even like when I talk to him about it, he's like, "No, Michael Jordan, like the greatest, like amazing," and like to come from a Knicks fan who like must have just hated seeing Jordan just destroy his team every single year. Like I think my dad just is a fan of Jordan because like he just has so much respect for like him just coming in and tearing apart his team over and over and over again.
Yeah, and what's cool with Jordan, compared to other greats in maybe other sports or just anywhere, like you have a Pete Rose situation or a Tom Brady. There's always like maybe a little scandal to their name, possibly. Like with Pete Rose, it's that whole betting thing, and Tom Brady, the Flakegate and all that stuff. Like with Jordan, there wasn't really any like crazy, dirt on him. Like it was always he was an honest man, clean. But like I mean, the only thing really was that gambling thing, which I didn't really think that was a big deal because I don't think it was really true. But that's another thing that I think made Jordan so much so much greater than, all these other big names is he kind of just lived an honest life and people didn't know how to handle that.
Yeah, like you said, I think the gambling thing is just a little overplayed because to normal people, when they're like, Jordan puts $10,000 on a golf game, people are like, "Oh my god!" But like to my, that's like putting $20 down on the
It's
game.
like $1. Here you go.
Like, let's put 20 on this game. Like, the dude had a competition addiction. I don't think it was necessarily a gambling one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. And, I thought he addressed it so well. He's like, if I really had a problem, like, and there are people that do, like, it gets out of control and, like, they're betting on everything and they're in trouble with bookies or whatever and losing their house and losing their family and stuff. And, like, clearly that was not where it was coming from. It was just the whole competition thing.
Yeah, and I feel like that maybe was just an excuse because people, when someone's so successful, there's always going to be haters out there trying to bring you down because they're not at that level. But what was your top part in this whole series? I mean, it's hard to think back 5 weeks ago, but in your is there something that sticks out to you guys that like was a top part in your mind?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely thought like the finale was really well done. So like I liked all of part 10 a lot. And I can't remember which part it was, 6 or 7, where like they really dove into like the Dennis Rodman stuff. Like I just find that to be so interesting. Like his mindset throughout it, Phil Jackson's mindset throughout it, like his teammates' mindset throughout it. Especially when he was like, Phil, I just got to go to Vegas 48 hours. And Jordan's like, you were guy again in 48 hours. Like the has got to go pick him up in 2 weeks, and it's just like just crazy. Like that would never happen in today's league. Like a player just stops showing up and goes missing in Vegas for 2 weeks. Could you imagine? It would be like imagine like when the Warriors dynasty was like at its peak. If like Klay Thompson or Draymond Green was just like, you know what? I don't need to be here these 2 weeks. I'm out. And like just dipped. Like that'd be everywhere, all over the news. Like that guy would be like released and like it just would never slide.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean the whole thing for me, like I was looking forward to it and so pumped that it got moved up sooner. I see the first episode, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. I can't wait. And then and I love that they put 2 on every weekend. So it wasn't like it didn't drag out that long. You didn't have to wait a week for the next one to come out. And I just thought every one got better and better. I'm like, how do you top that last one? That was incredible. Oh my gosh, like this whole just story, and everything that goes into it is just so fast. There's so many fascinating parts. It's like you couldn't write a movie this good.
Right, you're completely right. And Dylan, you hit on one of my points with Dennis Rodman later on, so we'll get back to that point because that was to me was really a cool part in the documentary. But a top part for me was just when they had Jordan anytime, kind of they would show an interview that someone was talking about him and his reaction to it. Like I remember like during that '92 Dream Team Olympics team when Isaiah Thomas wasn't on the team because of all the the dirt that he had on with everybody, like all the everyone didn't like him, and I mean you're not going to pick Thomas over Jordan for that Olympics team, so you're going to want to please Jordan to play in it. So I loved all the reactions, and especially that one after that the whole Detroit drama happened, and Isaiah was like we weren't going to shake hands, and that wasn't like that back then. Now it's all about respect, but back then it wasn't, and Jordan wasn't having any of it, and that was a pretty top part for me.
Yeah, my favorite reaction was when Jordan was watching and Gary Payton was like, man, I got in his head, like if I had just done that. Jordan's just laughing hysterically at it. He's like, no way, man, you weren't in my head. Like, okay, Gary.
Whatever you say, Gary.
Yeah, that was funny. I mean, he just like I had a lot of other stuff on my mind, and that's where it got a little emotional. But like, I mean, part of me is thinking like, I mean, I wouldn't say he purposely lost the game, but I feel like he wanted to win it in his hometown, that championship. So who knows? I mean, who knows if that's a true thing? But I mean, either way, they won it. So It's all good. But that food poisoning that now declared that, I was always told it's a flu game. Did you guys have any idea if it's food poisoning?
No idea, man. That was fascinating to me too. I mean, that's and fascinating that didn't really come out like later on, because I feel like nowadays it would have come out,
Yeah.
through social media or whatever, and it would have been like, oh, well, it turns out this and that, but like there was no story later on like, oh, and the fact that Jordan like didn't say anything really, because like had he said like, you know what, I had this pizza late at night, like, and told the actual story what happened, I mean, for sure that would have been like media would have just ate that up and just really run with it. But interesting that he kind of like kept that to himself.
Yeah, I'd actually heard that story before. So I like saw like this like I've subscribed to like a billion YouTube channels. A lot of them are about like basketball and football and such. And this one guy was like top NBA conspiracies, and like that was one of them. And his trainer had actually previously had an interview about it, and like his trainer had previously spoke on it, and I heard about it, and I was like, oh, like that would make a lot of sense, but like why would Jordan have not just said that's what it was before if that was the case? That like does he like not want to like come across as like a fool for like five guys at the delivery door like like no, it's you.
Yeah, I never understood that, why he didn't just come out and be like, hey, it was food poisoning. But also to me, at that point in time, when there's five guys at your door with pizza, the trainer's like, oh boy, this can't be good. Like, I don't think I would want to eat that pizza. I don't know why he hated it, dude. That makes zero sense to me.
I'm Michael Jordan, like I'll be fine.